It is Wednesday night, ladies and gentlemen, and that can mean only one thing. BUCS Super Rugby is back on your screens. Last week, we brought you an epic from Lady Bay where Trent trumped Loughborough in the last gasp moments of the game. But tonight, we bring you down to the Cardiff Arms Park, a home of Welsh rugby, for the biggest derby of them all. The first in BUCS Super Rugby history. It is Cardiff University versus Cardiff Met, with kickoff coming to you live at 7:30. Well, welcome everybody. It was a long, hot summer and we were starved of BUCS rugby up until last week, where we brought you that thriller that I mentioned in the build-up, Trent versus Loughborough, springing a bit of a shock. But now we've travelled across the Severn Bridge and into Cardiff to bring you a derby with, aside me, Aled Evans, last year's Cardiff Met captain. Welcome, Aled.
Thank you very much. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Aled, last time we saw you, you were on crutches, having blown your knee out in the epic semi-final against Bath. How are you? Are you back playing?
Yeah, it's nice to be back, and it's been a long pre-season, really, trying to get back from that injury. But things are going well at the moment. Playing for Bridgend in the Welsh Premiership, and I managed to get a few games under my belt. But it's about kicking on now and trying to push for a starting place in that team.
So, Aled is playing for Bridgend, George Simpson's at Ealing, Alex Dombrandt's at Quins. It was a stellar year for you guys. Is it a struggle to replace such a core of a famous team like that?
Well, yeah, we had a number of good individuals really playing for our team last year, but we kind of built our success on our core values really. But it was always nice to have the likes of Alex Dombrandt and George Simpson in the team. But yeah, it will be difficult to replace them individuals. But again, I think Danny Milton and Ian Gardner have built on the core values that the boys took over last year, and maybe we can take them into this forthcoming season.
What are those core values that you mentioned of? Because the spirit was palpable last year with Cardiff Met.
It was just about an effort really to get off the line in defence and attack and just express ourselves really. So, but again, it was just going back to our core values of work rate around the park in set piece. So everything we done was for our friends and for our family, and we've grown a family culture over that 12 months that we were all together. But again, I hope the boys can show that again tonight, but with the expansive game that everyone likes to see.
So that was last year for you. We're into a new season. You've got Cardiff University, big local derby. How are you set against these guys?
Yeah, look, it's a good for Welsh rugby, really, for Cardiff University to be in the BUCS Super Rugby, and obviously it gives our boys a good local derby. But I think the boys are not going to take this lightly. I know it's their first encounter in the BUCS Super Rugby, but again, I think it's for the boys to stick to the structure and the core values that they're going to bring through, not just from week one but through to week how many games they play. But yeah, it's good for the capital, really, for both universities to be in the BUCS Super Rugby. But again, I'm hoping for a great encounter.
Okay, so it's Cardiff Met's first outing this evening, but there were 4 fixtures last week in round 1. We brought you the live one where Nottingham Trent beat Loughborough 29-27, but elsewhere the results saw Northumbria overcome Bath 29-23. Hartbury were the winners against tonight's opponent 31-14. But really for me, the standout result was Exeter's win over Leeds Beckett 43-19. Aled, Leeds Beckett were a side that people feared playing at the back end of last season, but they were dismantled by Exeter. That's got to stand out for you as well. Yeah,
if there's one place we always found difficult really was going down to Exeter. There was this kind of a small pitch and they had a big pack and they backed their set piece. I think our boys would be wary of going down there this season, but like anyone can produce a result in this BUCS Super Rugby, so no one should really fear them. But if as a Cardiff Met team we really did fear, and we knew we had to be on top of our game to go down to Exeter and get any sort of result.
Okay, but tonight's opponents, Cardiff, they didn't get a win, but they left with their heads held high. They ran Hartbury very close throughout the game. Who are the standout players for you for Cardiff?
Yeah, as we know, it's obviously difficult to play against Hartbury. They're always good at set piece, and they always have a good game plan. But the individuals that I have kind of put out is Tom Wilson, the captain at 6. He's a good player. Has been in the BUCS game for a long, and he runs and carries hard. And so I'm seeing hopefully have a good game out of him. And number 8, Alex Everett. Another big ball carrier. Hopefully they can get Cardiff over the game line, so it'll be an excellent battle with Alex Everett and Aled Ward tonight.
Excellent stuff. So a big back row battle that's going to unfold tonight by the sounds of things. So it's great to hear from Aled, but we also got an opportunity to catch up with the coaches just before the game. So Danny Milton, thank you for joining us. BUCS is back. Now, last season was such a success. Is it a case of more of the same but one better, or do you hit the reset button?
I think it's always changed, isn't it? We lose a few boys every year, and it's an opportunity to bring a new lot through. And we're really excited for the season. BUCS Super Rugby, the last couple of years has been fantastic. What it gives to students, the university, it's a real thrill to be here again.
You mentioned losing a few boys, but you've retained a powerful spine to your side. How important is having that experience coming into this season?
It's nice to be able to get some continuity, and in certain positions we've managed to do that. We're excited by some of the new lads that have arrived as well, and it's trying to grow that programme. 10 sides out a week now, and we're just excited to get people on the field.
You mentioned the new lads. Who are the names we're excited for, and who should we be watching out for?
Well, I'm pleased with how Aled's become captain this year. Aled Ward, he's taken over from Aled Evans, has done a real good job to start the season. And then we've got a couple of new faces, Zach Clow from the Welsh Exiles programme, which is a big boost for us. And some of the old lads like Eduardo and Jack Arthur in the second row there to look out for.
Okay, now you played Cardiff University in pre-season and you came out second best. Should we read too much into that?
Hey, they're a good side, and if we're not exactly where we need to be and prepared right and bring the right sort of mental attitude to the game today, we'll be in for a tough time again. So we just got to make sure we get our processes right and play the game, not the occasion, because it's going to be a bit of fun down here tonight.
Yes, you mentioned the size of the occasion. Is there any worry about things boiling over and losing your structure because the passion takes over the boys?
Well, it's something they've got to manage. It's something we've all got to manage, and I think that's what's nice about BUCS Super Rugby is it is an occasion, and when we're trying to develop young athletes in going into the professional game as well as going into their future careers, it is something they've got to deal with, and how they deal with it's an exciting part of what we've got to look forward to for the next couple of hours.
Excellent stuff. It's great to see you, Danny, and good luck tonight.
Thanks, Joe.
Alan Wynne, thank you so much for joining us. It's a big occasion and your second weeks in BUCS. How was week one and how has the aftermath been?
It's been great. As you said, it's if you're a competitive person, I guess playing the two finalists over 2 weeks, it's quite a mouth-watering opportunity, isn't it? So that's great. It's a measuring stick for us, certainly last week, understanding the intensity of the game, and I think we stayed in the game for about 60 minutes. So the challenge today is to keep that 70 to 80 minutes. So, but yeah, really positive last week, and as I said, couldn't pick a better place to come, could you, for game 2 of Super Rugby?
What for you has been the starkest difference? Is it the power and physicality, or is it the skill level up here in BUCS Super?
I think the physicality, as you said, it's packaged into an intensity thing over 80 minutes. I think that's what I think the guys are used to the intensity level in short spaces of time with ball in play. A lot of the guys play in the Welsh Premiership and they played in different levels. So I think that's what it's a sustained intensity through that time. So I said if we can match that, as I said, and like we said, it's going to take a couple of weeks for us to get used to it, but as I said, when we get used to it, hopefully that we can be able to sustain it and obviously improve.
You mentioned the physicality. I know you picked up some bumps and bruises from last week's game, and there's some new faces on the team sheet. Who are we looking out for and who are we excited about?
I said we've got a young half-back pairing. So we've got a young pivot at George Finney at 10, and it's very much a sink or swim opportunity for him, but then unless you give these guys exposure at this level, you're not going to find out about them. So but throughout the spine of the team, there's still our guys are still there. I said our captain is put together by Tate today, but as I said, he's happy to crack on, and he's been passed with the medical. So but yeah, as I said, we've got an exciting back three as well. We're really looking forward to seeing on a track like this and what they can do.
Good stuff. And you didn't get the result last week, but you can certainly hold your heads high, only losing 31-14 to the champions. Do you take a lot of confidence from that game last week?
I do, but I don't really get the line that said you don't lose, you learn. Why do you have to lose to learn? It means that's what we've been trying to tell the guys. It was 24-14 for the last 4 minutes of the game, and we were just chasing the bonus point, and I said I don't think the scoreline reflected 31-14. So but yeah, as I said, we felt we had control, certainly had control for 55-60 minutes, and after that I said that intensity level and sustaining it, and what we had to come off the bench, I said having people like that going forward is going to be really important.
So more to come from Cardiff University Rugby Football Club, and the occasion tonight, it's going to be a special one for the lads.
It is, yeah, and like we commented off air now, just now is you've got guys who've been drinking for a few hours, so it's going to be a party atmosphere, I'm sure it's going to be. But again, the guys are here determined to enjoy themselves. Likewise, what we're going to try and do on the pitch.
Excellent stuff. We wish you all the best, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
So, as you can probably tell, that footage was filmed earlier in the day, and now the Arms Park is rocking. Sweet Caroline is blasting out, the crowds are going wild. We have a hell of an atmosphere on our hands. We're getting excited for Cardiff Uni versus Cardiff Met here, but there is another big bout going on in the Midlands, and we got a message from someone who you'll all be familiar, who is at the game, which kicked off at 7 p.m.
Cardiff Arms Park is not the only BUCS Super Rugby party in town this evening. It is going to be a massive one up here in Loughborough. It's the quiet before the storm at the moment because 5,000 tickets have been sold. It's under the lights. It's two top teams, one of which is struggling a little bit for form, and it promises to be a brilliant evening. Let's talk about that form, particularly for the home team. There's no other way of putting it. They're struggling. They're without a win in National 1. They're without a win in BUCS. However, in front of this big crowd at this stadium, traditionally they do very well indeed. They launched BUCS Super Rugby here a couple of years ago. Exeter arrived as champions. They left with a defeat. Last year, Hartpury arrived as champions. They left with an L. They've had an international varsity match here too, where they defeated the University of Queensland. So all of the omens are pointing in the African violet direction. However, in come Exeter, 43-19, a massive opening win against Leeds Beckett to start the season, and it's looking like that turnover of players hasn't affected the results and hasn't affected the style of rugby. They still get over the whitewash. They're still a nightmare to play against, and of course they got the double against Loughborough home and away last season, a tight one when they came up here to the East Midlands, and they put over 50 points on them despite conceding 40 odd when they went back down to Exeter. So we're all set here for an absolute thriller, of course. Burnsy, I know you always like to keep your eye on the green machine, but don't worry, I won't rub it in too much when Loughborough take the W.
Thank you, Dave. We eagerly await that result, which is currently Loughborough 3, Exeter University 7, as you hear the atmosphere building here at the Arms Park. So it's just about time to run you through the teams. Now, Cardiff head coach and former archer Alan Wynne-Davies is charged with spearheading the university's assault on BSR. And with his hand forced by injury, he's put his faith in a fresher half-back axis of Josh Oakley and George Finney to unleash his potent back three that includes last week's try scorers Owen Williams and Adam Sadbury. Tom Wilson overcomes a shoulder injury to captain the side from 6. The enemy at the gates are Cardiff Met, who will look to pick up where they left off last season, albeit go one better and lift the BSR trophy with their campaign kicking off tonight. Danny Milton's men are 5 from 5 in the Welsh leagues, and while many of their stars graduated last year, they retain a powerful spine. Aled Ward has flourished with the captain's armband, ably supported by his second row lieutenants Eduardo Baloco and Jack Arthur. England student Luke Northmore is the danger man in the middle, but watch out for fresher Zach Clow, who gets the pulses racing out wide. Danny Milton said earlier in the week, it hurts enough losing in BUCS, but no one wants to be the second best team in Cardiff. It's time to find out who are the Kings of Cardiff. Now, a comment on the setting. No stadium in Wales and few in the world come as iconic as the Arms Park, the scene of so many I was there moments of rugby yesteryear. Tonight's stage is another piece of Welsh history as Cardiff University meet Cardiff Met for the first time in BUCS Super Rugby. More recently, the Arms Park has become a multi-sport venue. Last month, hosting the Quidditch World Cup, no less. But tonight, we're looking to some young Welsh wizards to sprinkle the 4G surface with a bit of magic stardust. I'm up here with last year's Met captain, Aled Evans. Aled, how jealous are you that you're not out there on the field tonight? What an atmosphere.
It's very different to be on the other side, but you know, I think the atmosphere is absolutely buzzing here at the Cardiff Arms Park, and as Aled Ward is just about to come out, the place is buzzing.
Absolutely buzzing indeed. It is officially Cardiff University's home match, but the vociferous support from the Archers fans is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's always unbelievable. You know, it's always down in King Coy that these people, you know, they're the 16th man, but you know, they've all brought themselves down into the capital, and I'm sure they'll be having a few beers after this one.
They sure will, and I think they might have had some in the build-up as well, Aled, if I'm not mistaken. So, round 2 of BUCS Super Rugby 2019, brought to you by Yoti. We are on the brink of kick-off, and it will be Cardiff University in the dark and red hoops up against Cardiff Met in the maroon and gold. Cardiff University to kick off. The ball is in George Finney's hands, the fresher, who's making his first start this evening. The stakes could not be higher. The referee makes sure that everyone is ready. He checks the bounce of the ball. And we are off. He sends it long into the captain's hands of Cardiff Met University, Aled Ward, who's flourished with the captain's armband. And he wins a penalty first up. That is how you want to start a match, Aled.
And that's exactly what Ian Gardner had been looking for. A nice clean exit, nice catch by Aled Ward, and they've just awarded a penalty, so it's a great easy out for Cardiff Met.
Yes, you mentioned Ian Gardner there, your forwards and forwards coach, and he has a defensive hand as well. What sort of things is he drilling into the boys session after session?
He just plays a big emphasis on effort, really, and getting off the line and causing as much pressure as we can on the opposition, and hopefully that'll force errors and we'll turn over the ball that way.
Well, an error was forced right from the get-go there. It's given Cardiff Met an opportunity to come up to the 10-metre line of their own half on their throw, and it's the first line out of the day. And it's a clean one. But it's adjudged to be a bit of mischief in the line. It's a free kick to Cardiff. You take it quickly and they attack through Cameron Lewis. His namesake, Corey Lewis, playing hooker against him for Met tonight. But the hands is in another fresher's hands. Josh Oakley, who feeds it out wide, but an error is forced by the Met defence, and they're on the charge.
It's clearly obvious that Cardiff Met's policy is to get off the line as hard as we can and put enough pressure on it. That was evidenced by Sam Cochrane's tackle then and forced an error, really. So hopefully Cardiff Met can capitalise on this piece of ball in the midfield.
Quick line speed, looking to suffocate the time on the ball for Cardiff University. So fresh in this league, and they go to the back line. There's some fancy play out wide, and it's into the hands of the winger, Chris Lewis. But in the build-up, it looks like there might have been a bit of a forward pass from Jack Wright. We're going to catch a little replay of this. A bit of magic down the right-hand side. For the first time we've seen the backs unleashed.
I think the Cardiff staff will be screaming for the defensive line to get a bit wider there. I think Cardiff Met got outside them a bit too easy there, so I think moving on to the game, I think they need to get their width in defence, otherwise Cardiff Met will have a bit of a field day out in the wide channels.
Yeah, certainly. Jack Wright had all the time in the world to go through that gap and find the inside ball, but still a nice bit of invention and showing what the backs can do. It's not all about forward power for the Archers, but it's put in to the home side, Cardiff University. First scrum of the match, the big boys at the front, locking horns, and each side will be keen to impress their power and dominance from the get-go at scrum time.
Yeah, first scrum of the game is to be a massive psychological battle, whoever wins this, and if Cardiff are able to exit clean here, that'll be a good goal forward for them. So the ball in Josh Oakley's hands, in for the injured co-captain Owen Davis. What a night for him, making his first start at the spiritual home of Welsh Rugby, and there is a penalty to Cardiff University from the first scrum. That'll be disappointing for Met. In a good area, pressure on Cardiff, they yield the penalty. It's an opportunity for Cardiff to clear the decks, and they have a line on the halfway, and it's our first opportunity to see what they can do in attack from set piece. Yeah, I'd say that's 1-0 Cardiff University pack, really. They managed to get a penalty out of that scrum, and we've got a good attacking platform off this line out. They go long from the throw, but it's wayward and it's stolen by Met. It goes out to the captain, Aled Ward, with a big carry. Matt Marsh controlling things from the base for Cardiff Met as they again go to the 12 channel. Matt Marsh has a snipe down the blind side. He finds his winger, new boy, Zach Clow, the fresher who's impressed so much in the league. Aled Ward, another heavy carry through the middle. He's putting his hand up at the moment. Into Harry Johnson. It's going to the wide channel again. Tom Benjamin has a snipe.
Injured last season. George Simpson stood in for him, but Tom Benjamin's back to write his name into Archer's folklore.
It's evident that Harry Johnson is taking the ball really flat to the line, you know, and making Cardiff Met players come onto this ball.
Maybe a little bit too flat there. He looked for the inside ball to his forward, who was running on at pace, but he could only find the forward pass to Matt Marsh. Now, you brought up Harry Johnson. Last year, he was a fresher. He came in at 10 because George Simpson had to be shifted to fullback to cover Tom Benjamin's injury. And he took the mantle like he always belonged to be there. He was great for you.
Yeah, Harry was great towards the end of the season. Really controlled things well as a fresher. His ability to understand the game was spot on, really. So you know, you can't fault the effort that he put in. But again, he's got a old head on young shoulders, really, and I hope he can push on this season, being a second year, and he can guide this Cardiff Met pack in the good areas of the field.
Certainly will do. So, scrum time number 2. The first one resulted in a penalty for the home side. 1-0 Cardiff University. Let's see how things are going to go down here. There should be no excuses for slippage on the 4G pitch. The referee is going to look to stamp his authority on this set piece, so we don't have any time wasting shenanigans for the rest of the game. So let's see how these two get on this time.
This is a great attacking platform for Cardiff, really. It's a midfield scrum. They split both. They split their back line, so hopefully Cardiff can produce something off here, if they can get over the gain line or create something.
Exactly that. The feed is good, the heel is good, and they're going right. Solid play on the 15, approaching the halfway line. And it's a big carry from one of the second rows for Cardiff Met, but they're driven back ferociously in the tackle. They look to regroup, and it goes out the back, but that one's wayward. It's left to Cameron Lewis to mop up, and mop up he does. He's done well there under pressure from the Met defence.
I think the Cardiff staff would be screaming for the 10 to get these out to this area at the minute. You don't want to be playing too much in their own half, really, and I think Cardiff Met have got a nice line, really, and they're going to be coming up and making positive acts, so I think they'd be screaming to get out this area and hopefully apply pressure on other parts of the field, really.
Yeah, you could argue that maybe it's the excitement of this derby that's meaning they're not playing quite as cute as they should do. As you say, you want to be playing rugby in the right areas, but almost as if they're listening to you, they put it on the toe. It's collected by Matt Marsh, but he is stifled into the touchline to raucous cheers from the Cardiff University faithful. And again, we're going to see a line-out opportunity. We see here Matt Marsh goes to collect. There's a little bit of confusion there on whose ball it was. And Marsh is taken into touch. Cardiff University with a bit of time on the ball here now and a bit of opportunity to express themselves. Cameron Lewis, his first one, it went wayward. He'll be looking to send this arrow a little bit truer. Will he go to the back? Will they risk it? Will they have faith? Once again, they've shuffled the line out around. They go to 4, and it's a solid take there from Charlie Stonehill. But off that quality first phase ball, there's another handling error in the midfield. The Archers are all around each other, congratulating the pressure they're putting on in defence. That defence that you spoke of earlier, Aled, and Cardiff Uni is struggling to deal with their opposition in the face.
I think the Cardiff Uni pack will be having a bit of word of the back line, really. It was a great line out, good set piece. They managed to get a clean ball, and then, you know, the backs, I think, a bit of communication error, and it led to a knock on, which is a great platform now for midfield scrum for Cardiff Met, and I'm sure they'll be looking to exploit this now with Luke Northmore on the blind side.
Yes, Cardiff Met's first feed on the scrum. They yielded a penalty first. Cardiff took it on their own ball the second time, but let's see what the Met men can do. You mentioned Luke Northmore out there on the blind side, the England student centre. He really is a danger man. He spent the BUCS final bursting through holes and setting up tries. Can he do it tonight at the Cardiff Arms Park? The scrum sets, but it goes down again. It's messy stuff at scrum time to kick the match off, and you can foresee the referee having a conversation with both front rows to get things in order. The ref goes to the other side to see if there's any foul play on the other side. It remains Met's ball. The crouch. They set. And the scrum's away. It's to the back. Untidy ball, but Northmoor mops it up. Cutting back on the inside. That's Jack Arthur on the inside to Dan Thurston, who finds the ball out wide. Met are 10 metres away. They're in the most extremity of the pitch now. Halid Ward, another carry coming at pace. Matt Marsh, there's men on the blind side, but he decides to go open. That's Eduardo Beloco trucking along. Who can stop him? He gets dragged short, 2 metres short. And they're inches away. They need some composure. They go out wide where there is acres of space. And Cardiff Met open their account in this Cardiff derby, and the crowd go wild.
Yeah, firstly, that was great scrambled ends by Cardiff, really. I thought they managed to track back well and make the tackle, but I just think that Aled Ward's carry then hit some more gain line, and then the carries kept going. So I think Cardiff need to get off the line a bit more and get leg chops in, which will stop these big runners at source.
It all started from quite messy ball from the scrum, but Luke Northmoor still managed to get them on the front foot, creating an opportunity for Dan Thurston to glide through and find Zach Clow with the wide ball.
I think Luke Northmoor will go and have a word with Matt Marsh. Really, the pass was a bit behind him, so I think to make this more better, to make that move a bit better, I think the ball should have been in front of him more, which should be able to glide onto the ball a bit more. But I'm sure he'll have a bit of word with him now and demand a bit more standards from him.
So first kick of the evening from Harry Johnston. From the far left touchline, it's a testing one. But he'll want to start his season by bisecting the posts and making this lead 7 points to 0. It's a good connection, but errant in its target, and the lead is only 5-0. As we take another look at that score, we see the burst, they're 2 metres short, and Cardiff gets sucked into that breakdown, which frees up the space for Zach Clow, the fresher, to open his Archers account in BUCS Super Rugby 2019, brought to you by Yoti, and silence the home crowd a little bit.
Yeah, that was great work by Dan Thurston there. He's managed to stay square and able to draw and put him in over the corner.
Cardiff kick off once again, they go long again, and Dan Thurston is the recipient this time, but he finds his captain Aled Ward. They're just outside the 22, so they won't be able to kick it straight out of play, which is why they carry it. They're on the 15, just outside their 22 once again. Harry Johnston's in the pocket, but Matt Marsh goes for the box. And there's too much on it. It goes straight out. Advantage Cardiff. It looks to be almost perfect, but it was just a couple of feet too deep into the touchline, and that is an error.
Joe, and that's a coach killer, really. It was a nice clean catch again, and a good inward carry by Aled Ward, and that's all he needed to do then was to put a nice aerial kick in for a challenge, but they went out in the full.
So third line out of the game for Cardiff Met. Will they go to the safe man, Stonehill? No, they don't. And they lose it again. That's 2 of 3 they've lost, and they've knocked it on in the process, so it's advantage Cardiff Met. And they get a second bite at the cherry to clear the decks here. Dan Thurston picks up and carries short. Matt Marsh is at the base. He finds Johnston, who sends it long down the throat of Owen Williams, try scorer last week against Cardiff, against Hartbury rather. He takes into contact with his man, Adam Sabri, but it looks like he's been held up, but he manages to wriggle through. And some weak tackling from the Archers here, allowing Cardiff to make strong inroads.
That's a great carry. They're getting on behind the gate line now.
Cardiff Met looking offside in their defensive line, their eagerness to get forward, but they seem to get away from it. And again, another strong carry going through traffic from Cardiff Met, and it's in the hands of George Finney. He feeds it out wide to Rod Wall, the club captain, the danger man from Llandovery FC. Another spill from Cardiff, but they get away from it this time. An incredibly long advantage from the referee for that offside that I mentioned earlier. No, I'm mistaken. It was for a high shot earlier in the play that we missed there. A very long advantage.
Yeah,
so
Joe, nothing really come of it really. So I think the ref put it back, and now Cardiff have a line out in the deep inside the 22, and hopefully they can put strings some together and get over the whitewash.
They've certainly had their fair share of ball in these opening salvos, but they seem to be lacking a bit of composure after the third or fourth ace. Do you think that's big game nerves, or what is it from them, Alan?
Again, I think it's early on in the game really. I think once they start putting their patterns together and they start having a bit of confidence, I think things will start coming together. But at the minute, it's still early on. I think it's a bit cagey at the minute, but hopefully this can start becoming a wide, expansive game, and both teams are successful.
Well, they secure the line out again through their safety net, Stonehill, and they build a more, and it starts to grind forward. For a moment, it stopped, but they've still got a bit of momentum. The referee calls the Met men to get back, and they've still got to shove on, and that is the opening score for Cardiff University in this big local derby, and it's one for the engine room.
Yeah, there was a great line out there, and he was formed well. And then Tom Wilson went over and scored the try. I think Cardiff might be bitterly disappointed with that. It was quite easy, it was quite soft, and I think they made about 20 metres on that line out then. So I think it's about Ali to regroup and come back stronger now.
Well, it's heartening stuff for the home side, because it shows that when they can secure that solid, quality, clean line-out ball, that they've got a pack that can mix it with the big boys and really bring the game to the Archers. So if they can get their darts on target, that's going to be a weapon we might see a lot more in the game. As George Finney lines up the conversion attempt to take the lead, and he sends it just to the left of the upright. So 5-all we are, honours even, with 16.5 minutes gone, as we take another look at this driving try.
Yeah, I think the transfer of the ball was very good there, and you can see the front pod are nice and strong and nice and low, and I think the Cardiff Met body angles and not really going to be stopped narrow from there. So if they need to start getting their lower body positions in that to be able to stop that in the future.
Excellent stuff as we have kicked off whilst looking at that try light. The ball has gone long, and Finney kicks long to Jack Arthur, the second row, who scored that memorable try in the BUCS final, who feeds it out wide. And we're on the attack again, this time through Chris Lewis, wearing the 14 jersey for Met. It slips through Arthur's hands into Northmour's. They tidy up, and Marsh is orchestrating things at the base once more. Will Gibson clasps the ball, he carries it forward, secures it, and Arthur's in the play again. Very, very active for a second row. He's almost like another back row, but on this occasion he finds himself isolated and surrenders a penalty to Greg Ramage, the man from Brighton College. His twin brother is on the bench tonight, both former Hong Kong Scottish exiles and both former Scottish 18s exiles. He is going to be a man to watch. He is from a vintage year of Brighton College, the year that Marcus Watson emerged from. So he's used to playing with a bit of quality. Another line out for Cardiff Met. They go for a shortened line out, the tap back, they clear it up. And it's Tom Wilson, the captain, who does the gritty work. He finds his number 8, Alex Everett, the Newport player, veteran of 2 varsities, a man who's used to the big stage, as they ping it out wide and they try and slip an offload. Maybe that was a little bit forced, and it's an opportunity for the Archers to counter. But they managed to retain the ball, and it's another big carry from Stonehill. But he's been held up, though they get him to the floor. And in the process, win a penalty, potentially for the leg being lifted.
Yeah, that's 2 consecutive penalties on the bounce now. I think the Cardiff Met boys will be disappointed in that, and that now puts Cardiff University in a great area of the field now, looking maybe to go for a driving line up again.
Would it be fair to say that Cardiff Met are the architects of their own downfall a little bit at the moment here? They're giving up a lot of penalties, a lot of errors. We're not seeing that clinical nature that we're used to from them.
Yeah, that could be big game nerves, a bit ill discipline at the minute, and I think that's feeding Cardiff Uni at the minute. But I think if that stops, I'm sure Cardiff Met will start getting on the front foot.
Cameron Lewis finds Stonehill. They have an umbilical cord linked between them at the moment at line-out time as they feed Tom Wilson, the captain, once again, putting his hand up for a carry. But they look to go out wide, and that is one strong run from Charlie Dyde. And they're inches away from the line now. They need a bit of composure. Tom Williams is all over it. It's into the hands of the scrum half. Josh Oakley, who again finds Stonehill. They've been bludgeoned back, and the referee, has he had enough of the indiscipline from their neighbours further up the road from Kincoid? Yes, he has, and it is a yellow card for Cardiff Met. They're reduced to 14 men on the 20th minute.
Yes, Joe, I don't think Cardiff University are doing anything really special at the minute. I think just they're doing the basics well. They're carrying off 9 hard, which is getting over the gain line, which is producing quick ball. So their back line are on the front foot.
So Dan Thurston goes off, the number 6, who's been very, very present in the opening salvos. A man who's impressed in pre-season to the extent that David Rabazniak and Harvey Scott are sitting on the bench, 2 starters of last year's BUCS final. You've got a real wealth of talent in the back row, but you'll be down to only 2 now as you defend your 5-metre line, Alan.
Yeah, Harvey Scott had a big injury towards to the end of last season, so I think he's just coming back in full fitness, and rumour within the camp that Dan Thurston has been excellent. So he earns his jersey at starting on the blind side tonight.
So it goes to the back, and the Cardiff University forwards have decimated the Archers, down to 7 men. Cardiff are turning the screw. Is a clean hook and went straight to the back where Alex Everett controlled it as they marched on through, and Cardiff Met are really under the pump here. They regather. The referee readies both sets of packs. A decision for the Archers here. Do they put one of their backs into the scrum to bolster this scrum, because they're on the march back, and 8 against 7, it doesn't look good for them.
Yeah, personally, if I was captain, I would have brought a back into the scrum now, because you have to deal with the scrum first, and then once the ball goes wide, you've got to deal with that after. So I think the priority now at the minute is to hold or win the scrum.
So another reset. The scrums certainly haven't been clean so far in this game, but when they have been, they've been in the home side's favour. It's 8 on 7 now. Let's see if Cardiff can make that extra man count once again as they crouch, they bind, they set. Oakley with the pudding. And what a result for the Archers. The crowd go berserk here as they win a penalty against all the odds. There's a bit of beef amongst the packs as the backs rush in to pat the heads of the forwards who got themselves out of jail. And the ball's in Johnston's hands, and he wants to clear this long into the night sky and relieve a bit of pressure for the first time in about 5 minutes, Alan.
Yeah, that's a massive let-off for Cardiff Met. I think Alan Wars will be telling the troops to walk to this line out and make every second count at the minute. So I'd say field position would be another goal for Cardiff Met at the minute now, and stay in there after the field.
So we have a line out, Archer's ball halfway between the 10-metre and the 22, while scrum half Matt Marsh is tended to for a minor injury, but he's up and he's with his forwards. And this is going to be one of the first times in a while that the Archers get to dictate the play. They go long to Arthur at the back, and they build their own driving maul. It's long, it's thin, the ball's at the back, but Marsh snipes, and he's gone blind, and he's still running. Marsh, a sensational run, the defence is on his heels, and he's dragged down, but the initial bust has got Cardiff on the back feet. It's quick ball, but there's no men to take advantage of it. Johnson steps in and Met are on the charge once again.
Yeah, I think Cardiff University is regrouped now, so I think it's vital that Cardiff Met go up the middle and keep things tight at the minute. As I just said, there's a loose ball and there's a turnover.
It's a big carry, but it's an even bigger hit. It squirts out the back, and Oakley gets his hands on the ball to box it clear, but it's gone into no man's land and someone's let it bounce, and it looks like Cardiff have regathered it by a stroke of luck. And it's a real loose game at the moment as Cardiff look to go out wide. They do have numbers. There's a show and go there on the 15-metre line from their outside centre, Rod Wall, who's had a couple of incisive breaks so far. But they go back to the forward power. Jake O'Leary, the third-year biochemist, throwing out a few hurting bombs there in the wide channels. And the game slowed down a little bit. Back to Josh Oakley to maybe control things. But George Finney, the other fresher, his half-back partner, shows and goes on the inside. And maybe it's time for a bit more sensible play here. But Cardiff, they're here to play. They want to play. They're throwing it around, Alan.
Yeah, very confident at the minute. I think the tails it up with being one man ahead. And as you said, I think it's important now to keep the momentum with them and keep playing.
So a big counter ruck from the visitors leads to the ball spilling out, and Northmore has got it out wide.
I think Cardiff Met just need to calm down, really, just get into the shape, into the structure, and start playing their game.
But they play a beautiful inside ball, and who's in support? But it's Corey Lewis, who then throws a wild one. But it's tidied up by the Italian age group player Eddie Bellocco. Such an inspirational player for the Archers, and there's two Archers on the chase. But the touchline beats them to it. A bit of an escape for Cardiff. Great transition play from the Met men. And
yeah, I think that's the part of the field where Cardiff Met would like to be at the minute. It's 8 metres out from Cardiff University's line. I think that's what...
Here we go, this is the break from Marsh. He sells the dummy in with runners around him. It seduces the rest of the defence, allows the gap to open up. But what a bit of defence from Cameron Lewis, chasing back against the number 9. The hooker's got wheels. And then it's the big hit that leads to the turnover and Oakley's clearance, but it was all in vain because now Cardiff find themselves about 7 metres out from their line with a pressure throw from that hooker who made the cover tackle, Cameron Lewis. When his darts have been good, they've been on song, they've been triple 20s, but when they've been wild, they've been stolen every time, and that is exactly what the visitors are going to be looking to do here with the likes of Bellocco and Arthur. So breathtaking stuff, Alan.
It is indeed. I think Cardiff University now will. I think they're not having much success with the movement and the line out, so I kind of stick to their process, stick to their throw catch, and I think hopefully they can get out of this area because at the minute the movement and the line out is not really working for them, and I think Cardiff Met line out is picking the ball off.
Cameron Lewis halted in his build up to the throw, but he's ready now. They go short. And he goes to that man Stonehill once again. They take it first phase with a big runner at the 10 channel. And this is the platform to clear. They go wide. There's a bit of a fumble there. It bounces in play. And Cardiff very, very fortunate to get out there. Sadri grabs the ball as if it's been touched. And it has. The pressure was on to the extent that a Cardiff Met hand managed to get on the ball.
Again, I think they should limit their movement in the line-up and just stick to a throw catch. They had success with it that then.
They go long, and again it fails them. Why? When Stonehill is performing for them at 2 and 4, do they insist on going long? Because it really has been shooting themselves in the foot as the Archers now build their own driving maul, but it goes out. Johnston finds Northmore on that cut line, and how uncharacteristic of the England student to spill, and it's counter-attack ball for Cardiff, and there's men out wide, but the ref calls it back for an alleged forward pass. I'm not sure about that myself, Alan, but you'll be relieved he's called it because they had him on toast there.
They did. They had numbers out in the wide channel, and I think if the ref played that on, that could have been another 5-7 pointer for Cardiff.
Here we go, we get another look at it. The cut ball for Northmore, who fumbles, gathers, then drops it, and here it goes wide. The most lethal ball in the game, other than the bounce pass, of course, is that transition ball. I'm not sure. Looked pretty flat to backwards to me.
As a Cardiff Met fan, I'd say that was a little bit forward.
Yeah, I bet you would, Alan. I bet you would. So let's not forget, Cardiff Met still down to 7 players. 5 all we are as we approach the 30-minute marker in this BUCS Super Rugby game, sponsored by Yoti, with Cardiff going wide, but they've thrown an interception, and it's a big fend as he goes to the corner, and Chris Lewis storms over in one of those famous Cardiff Arms Park corners, and the Archers faithful go berserk. What a bit of opportunistic play from the Met number 14, Chris Lewis. They tried a little bit too much Cardiff in the wrong area. It was picked off by Lewis, who then showed a bit of pace, but more importantly, a huge, big, don't argue with offend. And he stormed over in the right corner. Alid, that is just what the doctor ordered.
Yeah, Chris had a lot to do then, really, as fend and to make it over the line. But again, that's a coach killer. I'm not sure why Cardiff were trying to play too expansively out of there. I'm sure a nice target in the middle and then a nice clear exit would have put him down the field.
Well, what a return for Cardiff Met in this yellow card period. 10-5 we sit now, 30 minutes played. Harry Johnson with his second kick of the match, his second from the touchline. Let's see if he can do a little bit better than last time. It drifted wide, he had a nice connection, but we've got a perfect view over here to see if it's going to sail through the middle. It has split the poles and Cardiff Met accelerate into a 5-12 lead with the yellow card. Sinbin over, they're back to the full complement. Dan Thurston rejoins the play. And Cardiff University need to regroup and get on the attack. They've been the dominant side so far, but they find themselves down 5 points to 12.
Yeah, I think this kick will go nice and long now into the Cardiff Met 22, and hopefully they can have an attacking line out just inside their half. I think momentum has swung the other way with that try now, and hopefully Cardiff University can get back on the horse really and apply some more pressure in the right areas of the field.
They certainly will, and just while we scrabble around for another match ball, I can bring you a score update from the Midlands, where it is Loughborough 10, Exeter 7, so another tight affair up there for the big match. 5,000 packed into Loughborough Stadium as Jack Arthur retrieves the ball from the kickoff for Cardiff Met, and they've got a bit of wind in themselves, and they go to their main man, Alid Ward. Marsh feeds blind, strong running again in that 15-metre channel, and it looks like he's going to be shaping to box here as the blockers come in. He won't want to put it out on the full like last time. He plays it a lot safer. Now how good's this chase as Alex Everett cleans up the mess, and that is a very nice carry, pumping the legs still, pumping the legs. And it's to Oakley to control. They find Stonehill on a one-out pass. He's been everywhere for them so far. He's been as safe as Fort Knox at line-out time, and he's really been industrious in open play. But again, looking to play out from their 22 when you might think they could conserve some energy with a long kick, but I speak too soon because they're on the break, crossing the halfway line. It looks like they were halted illegally with a high shot. And certainly when they do get outside the 13, they're dangerous, and they've often got a man over.
Yeah, Joe, you would think they would look to learn from their mistakes really and playing up from them areas, but you know, when it is on, it's on, and they are dangerous. So I think you can only applaud the backline of Cardiff then by taking that opportunity and gaining a penalty in them wide areas. And now look where they are. They're They're just outside the 22, so hopefully they can attack off this now and get some go forward, and then the momentum may change again.
Yeah, they're really looking to get it out to George Thomas out there on the right wing. A couple of times they were thwarted by the forward pass, that time by a high shot when he was looking very dangerous. The emerging Welsh pathway player, obviously keen on picking up a try tonight, Aled.
Yeah, I think they've limited their movement now in the line now, Cardiff have, and it's not again successfully. I think they've learned from their wrongs, and I'm sure they're going to revert to a throw catch line up now, which is successful for them. So
it certainly is. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. As the man who's responsible for throwing it in, Cameron Lewis, has another charge, and they find the danger man, Adam Sadbury, a scorer last week, their top scorer from last season, and a real pivotal man, someone that has been quiet so far in the game. He'll want to get more involved, and Cardiff will want to draw him in off that left wing. But it looks like they've got a bit of penalty advantage, and Josh Oakley opts for the penalty, goes quickly, sells the dummy, but he's smashed by Harry Johnson there. They have the ball.
I think Cardiff need to stay patient here now. I think they're in the right area of the field. I think go through the phases, and when the opportunity is on, they need to take that opportunity. But I think it's about staying mature now and going through the phases and waiting for that opportunity to arise.
That composure from 7 metres out as they pick and go tight. They blast the defence out of the way in the ruck as Oakley feeds his 10. Who feeds it wide? Is it going to go wide to the man who was on our lips just a moment ago? George Thomas! He gets his score. He's been sniffing down that right wing all game. And once they free him up legitimately, no one can stop him from crashing over to take the score to Cardiff University 10, Cardiff Met 12.
Yeah, George has had a solid 35 minutes. I think he's been one of Cardiff's most exploited runners, really, to be fair. And it was a great try over in the corner. He did a lot to do a good fend, and it was a great try over in the corner.
Wonderful, wonderful handling there. So crisp. They went tight with the pick and goes incessantly there in the left corner, and when they realised they weren't getting enough purchase, but they'd seduced enough defenders into the breakdown, they trusted their hands and went wide to find Thomas.
Yeah, I thought the opportunity was over when it was a 3-on-3, but it was a bit of magic from George to be able to beat this man one-on-one and score over in the corner.
So we've got a bit of a game on our hands, Aled, as Cardiff shape up for the kick. Can George Finney do what his opposite number did moments ago and split the post from the right touchline to take it to a 12-all game? No, he cannot. It goes wildly wide. And it's 2 points in it as we take another look at these good hands going wide.
Yeah, it was nice drawing of the man, but like I said before, that was an excellent try in the corner, and George had a lot to do there, but credit to credit's due, to be fair.
Yeah, Zach Clow with a little bit too much to do defensively there, and George Thomas managing to squeeze over. Harry Johnson sends it to the Cardiff 22, and the chase is good.
Again, Joe, I think Harry should be putting that more into the heart of the 22, really. So the kick is harder, and they're harder to get out to the 22. I just think that is a bit easy for Cardiff to get their heads up now and trying to look to play.
Yeah, you think the two strategies are either you go long and you force them to exit out of their deep area, or you put it on the 10 and you compete and put their catches under pressure.
Yeah, I think that was a bit of no man's land, to be fair, and I think they're going to have a clean exit now, and I think George Thomas is going to make a chase again.
Well, it's a chance to counter, and good hands under pressure from Jack Arthur as it bounces. And Jack Wright cleans up once again. He's a big unit there in the centres. Strong ball carrier, blighted by injury last year. He's got big shoes to fill. The Tom Morgan jersey, he who contributed 168 points last year in BUCS, as Met find a bit of space down wide. Eduardo Baloco on the chart, bursts through the tackle, and it's a try in the left-hand corner from nothing. Eduardo Baloco, the Italian stallion, races over into the corner, and Met into a 17-10 lead with the kick to come.
As Eduardo got number 14 on his back with number 5, that was an outstanding finish. It was great to stay on his feet then and charge over.
Well, they had that opportunity to exit. Maybe the box was a little bit too infield and the chase a bit weak, which gave Met a chance to build from the back. Jack Arthur did well under pressure, and Jack Wright has been a real strong presence in the midfield.
Yeah, last season, if there's one thing we worked on a lot in training with Chris Owen and Danny Milton was our kick receipt and how we can exploit a lazy kick chase. And I think that the kick from the scrum half then from Cardiff didn't really put any pressure on Cardiff, so Cardiff Met, so it was a bit of an easy take, and they left the blind free, and Eddie seemed to crash over and had a lot to do, and it was a great finish by Eddie.
Oh, one hell of a finish from the Italian. He really is a big influential player for you guys. I know that, big personality in the squad, and Danny Milton told me that he stepped up from a leadership point of view in pre-season as Johnston shapes up to kick. Can he bend it round? No, there's not quite enough fizz on it, so it's just the 7-point lead with 1 minute remaining of the half. And Cardiff, they can feel aggrieved that they're down, but Cardiff Met have taken their opportunities when they've come.
Yeah, Joe, I think it's with 40 seconds left, I think it's important now that Cardiff keep the ball for them 40 seconds and see this clock out to half time and take a 7-point lead into this second half.
Wow. We spoke about competing from the kick, and Cardiff have done just that, and they give themselves an opportunity to attack through Jesse Outlaw, the fantastically named Jesse Outlaw, who carries with a bit of prop power, but they've been fought back once again. As you said, Met keen to not concede another score, and their line speed is furious. But they go wide, they do what they know best. They try and find those spaces out wide that have proved so fruitious for them time again, but they've been robbed, and there's a counter-attack opportunity, and Clout has the ball, the try scorer, who opened the account for the game. But they're back to basics with Jack Arthur in the midfield. All action Jack Arthur. As Johnson stumbles, he looks for a bailout, and of course, who is there? Luke Northmore, the man who loves nothing more than stationary ball and having to fight for his yards. When will we see him actually on the charge?
I'm sure when this game starts to open up now in the second half, I'm sure he'll get his hands on the ball and create something special.
Well, they've put it on the toe, and they've gone deep, and they've put Cardiff under pressure once more in their 22. It's well mopped up, though, by the fullback, Owen Williams. And Finney slides back into the pocket, and you'd think he's going to send this long and deep into the touchline. No, he's not, because Oakley goes for the box, which isn't gathered cleanly by the Archers. It's a knock-on and maybe an unintentional offside, I think, knocked on from Aled Ward trying to take it in the air, and the retreating Jack Arthur then interfering with it, so it's offside, a penalty to Cardiff. And do they have time for the line out? Do they want the line out? As we see some of the supporters with shirts off and shoes off. These are the young generation of tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, enjoying their rugby like they're on the terraces at Newcastle United Football Club.
We've all been there, Joe, we've all been there.
We have all been there, Aled. We love the uni game. But Cardiff on the charge now. It's a simple, strong carry from Charlie Dye. That's it. And it goes back into the pocket to Finney, who looks like he doesn't know what he wants to do with it. But fortunately, one of his forwards in the shape of Alex Everett is there to help him out. Finney on the ball once more. They cut back inside. And that's a strong carry from Dye. He's been great when he's had his hands on the ball, very direct. And sometimes that's just what the game needs. As the ref calls it up, it's maybe a clash of heads there. Safety first, as the medics rush on for Rod Wall, the club captain, who was impactful in the early exchanges in the first 20 minutes, but since Cardiff have been under the cosh, they've gone a bit quieter. And as he's gone down there, it looks like the referee has blown the half-time whistle, and what a breathless half we have had. 3 tries from the Met men to answer the 2 of the home side. Cardiff University leaves the score. Cardiff University 10, Cardiff Met 17. So those at home, as if we didn't know we were in the valleys, Delilah rings out around the crowd for an audience who've been thoroughly entertained in that first half.
A good old Tom Jones classic. But yeah, it was a bit of a cagey first 20 minutes, in my opinion. But I know after that 20-minute mark, I think both teams started to feel comfortable as the ball started getting chucking around. I think second half, Cardiff need to revert to what was successful for them in the first 20 minutes. That was just going direct, keeping the ball going through the basics and trying to get over the gain line. But I think second half, Cardiff Met need to be able to produce something more than what they're doing. But yeah, it was a great first try. Great dance by Dan Thurston to stay square and put the winger over in the corner. But that was a great first try. Yeah, going into the Cardiff Uni try, it was a good setup, good transfer back to the Cardiff, and the hooker was done well there and managed to get over. I think going into the second half, I think Ian Gardner will talk about the body height of Cardiff Met there, and I think on hindsight it's a great thing, but I think Dan Thurston there needs to be lower and need to be putting more of a shift in there.
Do you think that this is an example of maybe some of the style of play that Cardiff should look to revert to a little bit more? Because they have looked great when they've gone expansively, but it comes with its own risks, and at times if you do the basics well, you secure line-out ball, you drive hard, you build phases, you also get tries from that also. Yeah,
as I said, I think they need to stick to what's been successful with them, really. I think they've started being expansive in the wrong areas of the field. I said there's nothing wrong with being expansive in the right areas, but there should have been a clear exit, and Chris Lewis capitalised on that with a forced error there, really. But I think on hindsight, I think it should have gone downtown, and a good chase by Cardiff Uni would apply pressure on Cardiff Met in the wrong areas of the field. But on the flip side, Cardiff Met scored a try and Chris Lewis scored over in the corner.
It was certainly an opportunist try for Cardiff Met, and it came at a time when they needed it, because they were down to 7 men in the pack and they've been under pressure. So really, to get that score, change the momentum a little bit, but Cardiff fought back immediately.
Yeah, as I said, I thought the opportunity was over when it was a 3-on-3, but again, George Thomas in the corner was an outstanding finish, managed to squeeze in the corner there, and it was a great try, and they managed to put Cardiff University back in with a shout to this game.
So I think that Cardiff can take a lot of optimism from this half, because they've had a lot of possession, and maybe they haven't executed the opportunities that were there for them. They've gifted a couple of tries to their visitors, obviously the interception, but really that was a bit of falling asleep down on the blind side there, which allowed Eduardo to, let's face it, pull out a sensational finish from 40 yards away.
Yeah, they're taking nothing away from Cardiff University at the minute. I think they've scored 2 tries, and there's only 7 points in this game. But again, I think they're playing a play in the wrong areas, and that gifted Eduardo with a try over in the corner, and managed. He had a lot to do, but I think that was a bit of a Cardiff University error there.
So do you know what, Alan? I can barely hear what you're saying. Such is the atmosphere for this BUCS Super Rugby bout, brought to you by Yoti. Cardiff University 10, Cardiff Met 17. And what about the event? What about the occasion? BUCS Rugby needs more games like this. We've got 5,000 up at Loughborough. We're here in the Arms Park. It's nights like this that make the biggest memories for you as a player, aren't they?
Yeah, it's massive for University Rugby. I think I played in the first year where BUCS Super Rugby was just taking off, and from year to year it's just grown, and seeing occasions like this being played on the Arms Park, I think it's only going to get bigger and better, and the fans that come out, they're having a good time, and most importantly, that's what it's all about. But yeah, it's been great, and hopefully this can continue and it can keep progressing from year to year.
Well, it's fantastic as well that we've got 2 Welsh sides in the league now, particularly for Cardiff. I feel that they're just going to feed off each other more and more as that competitive spirit between them grows. But you were the first in BUCS Super Rugby. You have the established programme, and we're going to check out how they do things at Cardiff Met.
I think we know when players come here, we know that they're decent backgrounds, rugby players and athletes. I think we're trying to look more holistically and really look at, that player that athlete, but also their academic side. And as a person, nothing gives me greater pleasure than seeing boys 5-10 years down the line, seeing the type of father they've become, really trying to emphasise that good person in the environment.
The thing about rugby is you want everybody to be quick, everybody to be strong, everybody to be big, but it's a little bit like cutting a cake up. You've got to look at the individual player, look at their roles and responsibilities on the field, and you've got to be able to kind of justify with the training and the development that they can actually develop into the type of player that you actually want.
Well, again, hopefully we want to play like heads up rugby, I suppose. Play what's in front of us, but also have that structure around us where we can maybe tailor things up, where we like 5 minutes to go, shorten the game up and suck defenders in, and it's just playing what's in front of us and adapting to the situation, but also having a good structure that the coaches have set in front of us and good game plans also.
I think the first thing we all said when we came off the field was, I want more of this. It was certainly one of the most enjoyable games of my rugby career. I wouldn't say I loved the result, but I suppose that was a huge motivation in wanting to sort of get back there and go that one better. And for me, that's a real goal this year.
That final was really enjoyable, the whole day, the experience, but a bit of a bitter pill to swallow at the end and losing last minute, but that's rugby and it is what it is, and it's up to us now to do one better again.
I think from a philosophy point of view, we're trying to create effective decision makers, players taking ownership of the game, and I think we want people to be able to play an all type court game where you're able to play with the ball in hand, but maybe sometimes take a more pragmatic approach depending on the situation and the context of the game. So I think it's a physical game, it can be a high speed game, ball in hand, but it's about making those effective decisions at the right times.
The things that are going to help you win the game today aren't the things that make you a good rugby player, they're the things that make you a good person. And if you think about simple things like getting out of bed in the mornings, getting your nutrition right, not only looking after yourself but looking after the people around you, leadership qualities. I mean, all these things are things that you can carry on, not just in rugby, but you can carry on into your job, into your family life, into your primary and secondary relationships, being a good parent. A lot of these values that we instill into people within our rugby club, I feel carry on way beyond and into everyday life.
So a strong culture and ethos down there at Met being bred, and one that Cardiff University will be looking to emulate over the next few seasons. But they've started brightly here, only trailing by 7 points and having had much of the possession in the first half. If you're enjoying tonight's fixture, well, I've got news to you, because we are bringing you two this week. Durham will play Bath at the Rock, home of Roslin Park, a 7:30 p.m. kickoff, which will be coming to you live on Facebook. But the other round two fixtures, Loughborough versus Exeter at the moment, that kicked off at 7, and Exeter have just edged ahead 17 points to 10. The same score is here, Cardiff trailing Cardiff Met, as you have been watching, and the remaining three fixtures come on Friday evening. Northumbria, last year's nearly men, take on the champions Hartpury up at Kingston Park. Leeds Beckett, who were humbled by Exeter in the first round, welcome Trent, buoyant off their big opening day win against Loughborough. And as I said, Durham versus Bath at Roslin Park in West London for their big match. They're expecting a bumper crowd, with Dave Rogers on the mic, who is feeding me information from the Midlands, where despite Exeter leading, apparently it has been all Loughborough. Hopefully we'll be able to get a bit more information and maybe some footage for you later. But our focus is here at the Isles Park as the home side return to the pitch to the sound of Enter Sandman. As if the crowd wasn't revved up enough. Aled, what do Cardiff have to do in this half to get the double?
Yeah, and again, I think I'm repeating myself really. I think it's important they stick to what they've been successful in the first half, going through the phases. carrying in their threes, getting over the gain line, and hopefully something out wide will come about. But I think for Cardiff Met, I think it's about getting into this shape, getting into this structure early on, getting front football and hoping that the back line, like Luke Northwell and Howard Johnson, will be able to put a show on for the fans second half.
So here we go. The atmosphere ramps up once more as the ball is in Harry Johnston's hands to kick off the second 40. Met leading 17 points to 10. Will he go long? Will he contest it? Will it go into the middle, which is Aled's worst nightmare? He goes into a position for Metz to complete, and Zach Clout is on Alex Everett straight from the get-go, and we're off.
Yeah, I think that was a better kick-off. You know, you placed Cardiff University back into their own 22, and now Cardiff Met get the ball now just in their own half with Jack Arthur making inroads.
Jack Arthur, his athleticism this evening has been something that stood out. Is that a big feature of his game? It's almost like having another back row on the field, as I said. Yeah, again, I think he'd like to play in the back row. I just think with other boys then, you know, playing in the back row, I think that sometimes he has to revert into the second row. But, you know, if he did have to go in the back row, he wouldn't look out of place at all. And it was a great offer by him again. He's looking like he started the second half really well. Well, he's just executed a sensational offload. It looks like he's been drinking the same Kool-Aid that Alex Donbrandt was last year. The one-handed Harlem Globetrotter pass out of the tackle gives them an opportunity down the left wing, but it gets a bit scrappy once more, and the referee brings it back for a penalty for the offside. And surely you take the points here, Alan.
Yeah, I would indeed. It's a minute into the second half. I take the 3 points and make a 10-point lead, but it looks like Harry Johnson is going to the corner and keep the pressure on by playing a driving line out now into just outside the 22. So hopefully Cardiff Met can string something together, whether it's through the forwards or it's a midfield setup. Is that within Harry Johnston's range? Because last year Tom Morgan could have hit a goal from the car park, whereas Harry Johnson, he's a bit more of a finesse player. Has he got that range in him? Yeah, I'm not really aware of his distance, but I'm sure that, you know, if push comes to shove, he will be able to nudge that. But I think just Cardiff Met want to stay on top here and keep applying the pressure where they need to. Well, a loose throw to the line out at the back gives Cameron Lewis an opportunity to clean things up in the midfield, and Oakley feeds his fellow fresher Finney, who puts it on the toe, but it's into nowhere a little bit, and Tom Benjamin gets an opportunity to attack with a bit of verve, and Zach Clout shoves him through the gap. And the referee has adjudged that there was some crossing there, maybe a little bit harsh. He came in with a fair bit of velocity and almost shunted him through the gap like a truck and trailer, but the referee adjudges it. Yeah, crossing. That is a bit hard luck really, but he did stop the Cardiff University player making a tackle, so that reverts to them a penalty to Cardiff University. It looked a bit fortuitous to me, Aled. I don't think that's something that you practice off the training ground, but I don't know how you do it down here on this side of the set. We do, but it's only if you get away with it. Rightio, here we go. Cameron Lewis again, his hands on the ball. It's line-out time for Cardiff University, their first attack of this second 40. As we see the shunt through again, he definitely obstructed Thomas from making that tackle, so it was the right decision. They go long, they lose long again. They're just not learning their lessons at the moment, as Will Gibson picks up and he drives through the middle. Yeah, that's letting Cardiff University down at the moment. They're getting in good areas, but their set piece, their lineup is not really functioning really. Well, Met go wide this time, all the way into the 5-metre channel. And again, Aled Ward, a big carry in the middle. He's done a lot of the unglamorous work this evening and left the cool stuff to his teammates as Tom Benjamin's found on an inside ball. That was a lovely line he was running there. Northmore's run it before, but the pass hasn't been to hand. Tom Benjamin catches it sweetly this time. They kick it into the backfield and it's returned with a little bit of interest to Johnson. It's back to Benjamin. He's had a lot of touches in this second half. He wants to get more involved, and Met want to get it wide. Yeah, it's evident how much Cardiff Met are working back after the kick, so working to get behind the ball so they can all be an option, which can dent the Cardiff University defence. Well, Marsh is at the base, controlling things again. Johnston, now they have numbers. Benjamin goes for the gap, he sees the gap, it's out the back door. Baloko, the try finisher in the wide channel, he offloads, it's gone backwards. Play on, says the referee. Marsh. I think it's important now to stay stay patient here and just go through the phases, and an opportunity will arise.
Yeah, that composure you mentioned served them very well on their opening score that released Clout down the left wing, which is the same wing they attack down now. Boloko runs into traffic, not galloping in the wide channels like we've seen him a few times this game. And Aled Ward again, you can bank on him to score yards, but there's a break right through the middle. Harry Stewart, it's going to go wide, it's going to be a score, and it's going to be Luke Northmore who finally gets the opportunity to run onto the ball at pace, and he is devastating.
Yeah, it's a great finish by Luke, but I think the dent was done by Aled Ward then. It was an absolutely great carry into the midfield, which dented them, which allowed Cardiff Met to get in the front foot and allowed some nice quick hands down the flank. But yeah, it was great work by Aled Ward to get over the gain line first, and it was a great score by Luke. And Dan Thurston getting his hands on the ball and getting in the wide channels again, which is great to see.
Do you know what? Great play from Dan Thurston there, because he had a lot of space, a lot of men to pick out. But he put his head up and he picked his pass. Northmore screaming down the left-hand side, and it was easy street from there on in. Northmore deserves that score because he's been shipped some pretty wonky balls so far in this game, so it's nice to see him actually get a nice one and be able to score.
Yeah, he'd be pleased with that. I think it's important for him to get over the line then, and hopefully for the remainder of this game that he can kick on now and start showing us all what he can do.
Johnston with his easiest of the evening. Bangs it through the middle, and he stretches the Cardiff Met advantage out to 14 points, and this is looking like a long way to go for the home side now. They need to respond swiftly.
Yeah, that was the fourth try. That gives Cardiff Met the bonus point, but I hope they don't stop now and take it for granted that they got the 4 tries. Hopefully this thing can kick on now and start putting more points on the board.
Well, with that kick, it was the final bit of action for Harry Johnston as he departs the field of play. At the same time, Ben Edwards enters the fray for Cardiff, the big number 17, prop forward. And we'll see if he can impact positively, as it's not a sweetly struck kick-off, but it does the job, and Cardiff chase hard.
Yes, I think it's important now that Cardiff University get their hands on the ball now. I think Cardiff Met have had a lot of possession. I'd like to see Cardiff University string some phases together and hopefully get over the gain line, which they've been doing first half, which has given them no success.
So with Harry Johnston off the field of play, Russell Bennett is now in the 10 slot, wearing the number 22 jersey. He's someone I'm not too familiar with. Ali, did you come across him in your time at Cardiff Met?
No, he's a new fresher, but within the Cardiff Met camp they do rate him very highly, and I think if he can push, him and Harry Johnston can push each other for the starting 10 jersey, really, I think you've got a bit of competitive nature on your hand, and hopefully that can bring the best out of both individuals.
Well, really, Harry Johnston has set the mould for freshers being entrusted with the most pivotal jersey on the field, let's face it. His performances last year were stellar, guided you to that BUCS final, and they're starting to blood a successor in Russell Bennett, so interesting to see how he gets on. He's defending at the moment, just one out with a bit of back row protection on his inside. Another throw goes awry for Lewis. He has been fantastic in the open, but what about this offload play from Cardiff Met as they're on the charge up to the 22 of the home side. There's a bit of spoiling from Cardiff. The referee calls just a scrum. Matt Marsh thought it was a penalty and he went to go quickly. It looks like Cardiff maybe had a nibble at the turnover and knocked it on.
Yeah, first of all, I thought that was a penalty, but I thought he was hard done by then, the Cardiff University. I'm sure I thought he showed a clear release and went in over the ball, but it was a knock-on, so that gives Cardiff Met a nice platform, a nice scrum now in the middle of the field, so hopefully they can produce something.
Well, you couldn't ask for much more from a midfield platform from the scrum. This is a defender's nightmare as we bring you this BUCS Super Rugby fixture, sponsored by Yoti. 2019 season is upon us. It's round 2. The open side is stacked. Only Zach Clow remains on the blind side as they go open. And it goes short to Northmore on a line who again spills the ball. It's a couple times he's done it in the game. He'll be disappointed with himself. 6 tries in last year's BUCS campaign. England student he demands high standards of himself.
Yeah, he'd be disappointed with that, but I'm sure he's a good enough player and a big enough character to dust that off, and I'm sure he'll put some wrongs right by you now.
So, a scrum on the 22 for Cardiff University to defend. Will we see them play out at their 22 with that ambition they've shown all game, or will it be time to put it on the laces, get it into the visitors' area of the field, but they're not even gonna get the opportunity because it's a penalty to the Archers, with all the forwards pointing to the poles. And it's going to be Russell Bennett's first opportunity to register some points in this BUCS season in an Archers jersey and really settle the nerves.
Yeah, I think Danny Milton and Ian Gardner would have had a bit of a talk with this team, and I think they've come out now and produced a lot of things that they've been training all week, really. I think they're starting to put their shape together. They're starting to get over game line with big carries from Aled Ward, and it's easier then for the back line to be able to play on the front foot. But I'd like to see Cardiff now get their hands on the ball and string a few phases together, because when they do get in the wide channels with George Thomas, they do look dangerous.
They really have done, but they've been starved of possession so far in this half as Bennett lines up with an opportunity to stretch the lead by a further 3 points. And it's a miss from a pretty easy position. He'll be livid with himself about that. But fortunately, his team currently sit with a 14-point cushion. But let's hope that doesn't come back to haunt the youngster. As Finney doesn't catch his drop kick once again, and it's into the hands of the marauding Jack Arthur, but they say true to type, and it's given to the biggest ball carrier in the team, Aled Ward, the man who loves the grunt work. And that missed kick seems to have affected Bennett negatively because he spills with no real pressure on him, and Cardiff University are on the attack with Oakley with his hands at the ball. They look to go wide, as you said, Aled, and they find it eventually. It goes to Everett, who throws the ball to an under pressure backline player, but he wriggles free and he's on the charge down the wing now. Alex Varney, the Blues Academy player, making big yards down that flank. And now Cardiff stay composed. This is the time to score points and play. They find a gap in the middle of the field. It's that man, Greg Ramage. He's brought down 15 metres short. It squirts out the back, and recent substitute Ben Edwards gets his hands on the ball, and that composure. Can they find another gap? Oakley, he instructs his forwards who carry tight. They carry short. They settle the nerves. They churn through the yards. As they grind along in this BUCS Super Rugby fixture, brought to you by Yoti. Oakley continues to orchestrate. He decides when the ball goes wide. Will it go wide? Well, from what we've seen so far in this game, they are lethal when they get it to those wide channels. But the forwards are saying, hold on a second, we can do some damage too. As they inch closer and closer to the line, going round the corner. Greg Ramage is involved again. And it's another short carry, and they've got a bit of momentum. But Marsh decides to send it out wide. It's Finney, he's a little bit high. Has he got it down? Yes, he has. The referee awards the try after concerted pressure from the home forward. It creates the space. It goes to Finney, he sells the dummy, and despite almost being bundled into touch, he gets the ball down, and Cardiff University are right back in this game.
Yeah, that came from Cardiff University, just pushing the ball out to the wide channels. They've always looked dangerous when they get into them wide channels, and I think for the remainder of this game, Cardiff University did it up this tempo, because when they do start up in a tempo, and they are taking the ball flat the line, I don't think Cardiff Met's defence can really live with it. So I think the message should be passed on by the coaching staff now to up this tempo and try and get into the wide channels as quick as we can.
I think that patience you've mentioned multiple times is key, and maybe Cardiff just should back their forwards through the phase play a little bit more. As Finney adds the extras to his try, making it a 7-point game. They're within a score, and that has changed the complexion of things altogether.
It has. That came from an unforced error by Cardiff Met, and Cardiff University has just gone down the length of the field and put themselves right back in this fixture.
So a swathe of substitutions now for both Cardiff and Cardiff Met. We see some back row superstars entering the fold for the visiting side in the shape of Rubasniak and Harvey Scott, while Greg Ramage, who's really impressed for the home side, exits the play. And we've got a few new tussles to contend with out there.
Yeah, I think David Rubasniak will add a physicality to this Cardiff Met pack. I think to slow down this tempo with the ball, I think he'll get over it and slow it down and allow the Cardiff Met to realign and get a back line ready to get a strong defence up.
One thing we haven't really discussed is the level of firepower you have on your bench. We've talked about Harvey Scott, David Rubasniak, Jack Samuel, all starters in last year's final. Jack Samuel, former Scotland 19s hooker, Rubasniak involved with the Dragons, and Harvey Scott was probably your most improved player, a contender for player of the season for you guys last year.
Yeah, the modern game of rugby is not just the 15 to start the game, it's the full 23 now, so I think the squad is very important to bring on, as you say, your finishers to finish out the game, but not most importantly keep the tempo as it was as the starters done first half, really. So I think bringing on these boys will give a psychological benefit to the boys already on the field, but hopefully they can bring their own stance to the game and their own ability as well.
Wow. Jack Samuel finds his jumper from his first throw, but it is pickpocketed and it gets out wide to Sabdi, but he is isolated.
And it was that man again, David Rubasniak. He's came on, he's been on for about 2 minutes now, and he's just made a turnover as I just alluded to.
He is a lethal operator at the turnover, as we see that break again from the danger man. And Rubasniak, look at him like a limpet clamped onto the bottom of a boat.
Yeah, that's great technique. He wasn't a tackler, so he doesn't have to show any sort of release. He was in over the ball, and it is a great turnover. Good body height, good body position to gain the penalty.
So, in an attempt maybe to slow the game down, to take a little bit of juice out of the home side, they kick it to touch, and it's a slow forming line out. And this is exactly what the visitors will want, but the home side, they want to keep the tempo up. They've got this revered Cardiff Met side a little bit on the ropes at the moment, so they're going to want to keep attacking, keep posing questions of their defence, and maybe put the young number 10 wearing the 22 jersey under a little bit of pressure. Wouldn't you want to put one of the big men through the middle there?
Yeah, you would, but Joe, I think it's a Cardiff Met ball, and I think this is a great attacking platform to play off just on the 10-metre line, and I think they've gone for a 5-man line out. So I think Cochrane is standing out in the back line, so hopefully he can make a dent and they can generate quick ball off that phase.
Samuel to throw. Arthur moves to the back and they find him, but it's not clean. Boloko mops up, the big rangy Boloko, and they rewind it. Harry Seward on the ball this time. Bit of a scrum monster, but he's handy in open play as well, as they look to their Italian second row once more, who carries true. And Marsh flick-flacking the play a little bit at the moment, from open to blind, keeping the defence guessing. But they have an answer for it, as yards are hard to come by at the moment. A penalty's given and Marsh takes it quickly and goes on the dart, but he knocks on when he's giving the offload. Who was that charging through?
I don't really understand the thought process behind that quick tap. I know you are 40 metres out, but you are in front of the stick, so you could have put it into the corner to apply pressure in different areas. I'm not too sure the thought process behind that quick tap.
A little bit of a rush of blood from the head. We were talking about patience and maybe slowing the game down strategically earlier. Probably a kick into the corner or maybe a shot at the poles would have been the correct decision, as we see a bit more carrying from Met but mainly the strength and defence from Cardiff University. They plugged away plenty of times, it got no purchase. The penalty came, they went for the quick tap, and who's this bursting through? A little bit of a shoveled pass for Harvey Scott, who couldn't hold on to the ball, resulting in this scrum that we're about to see set just on the outskirts of the Cardiff 22.
Yeah, Joe, I think the more this gets more expansive and it gets more open, I think it falls into the Cardiff University hands. I think Cardiff Met need to play the areas of the field correctly and apply pressure in areas where they can back their defence and apply pressure there. But as soon as this game, and the tides are turned now really, and they've just got a penalty, so I think Cardiff Met need to not slow it down really, but play in the right areas of the field, which will apply pressure on Cardiff University. And
well, the referee is taking no nonsense when it comes to the set piece, especially with the scrum. He gives a penalty straight away in favour of the home side. He hasn't been shy of just penalising and not taking any tomfoolery, and Cardiff are the beneficiaries on this occasion. They kick for the touchline with a new hooker in play. Cameron Lewis was great when he was rampaging out wide, but their line-out has been misfiring to the throws, and it misfires once more. Alan Wynne-Davies, the Cardiff coach who sees himself as a defensive and set-piece expert, will be turning in the dugout with fury at these missed opportunities, and it's given Met a chance to counter. Zach Clow shovels it out and it goes back inside to Cardiff hands, who are then muscled across the touchline to the cheers of the vociferous Archer fans. And the game is very scrappy at the moment. Maybe players are trying to do a little bit too much, and we're not really seeing a pattern. We're not seeing the quality that we saw in the first half from these two sides. Bit of cramp down there, showing the physical exertions that were put upon the players. There's actually two Cardiff Met players down. Tom Benjamin has just got up as he trots back to his full-back position, as Jack Wright tends to Matt Marsh. Maybe a bit of cramp from that ill-informed burst we saw just a few moments ago. But everyone's back up. Everyone's ready to play. And most importantly, Jack Samuel has the ball in his hands as he throws to no one. The ref was not ready. It goes back to the hooker. Full of experience. And he'll look to take a leadership role in this pack and calm everyone down. As the line-out call is delivered to him. There's movement, they go for Boloko, but it goes long and over the top, and Archie Davies snaffles it and makes 10 yards. Oakley at the base. Goes out to one of the substitutes, Gareth Ansell. He has a big impact with his first carry. And they put some air on it again, but a little bit of miscommunication, looking a little bit lateral out there. But they win the ball back. And they go route one. A couple of occasions they look to have been held up, but they've got the strength to fight their way over.
And here's a man, Stonehill. The defence.
Stonehill on that inside line. It's the first time that we've seen him in this second half. As you said, Alan, a great inside ball, but isolated.
But it's that man again, Davra Bazniak. As soon as Cardiff University have got behind the line of defence and looking to generate quick ball, Davra Bazniak has got over the ball, and he's gained another penalty for Cardiff Met.
I mean, to bring a guy like Rabazniak on with 25 minutes to go, when players are becoming a little bit tired from the exertions of that first two-thirds of the match, and then you've got a Tyro who comes on and all he wants to do is fight at the breakdown. That must be exhausting for the opposition players to handle.
Yeah, it is difficult. Look, I think you do kind of switch off towards the latter end of the game, and your inside support player, your outside support player, just staying as closest to the ball carrier, and that split second, it allows Dav to get over a ball and may even make it difficult and even win the penalty.
Well, it's a bit of carnage down here at the Arms Park as all the medics are on the park trying to get their men back up and running, which gives us an opportunity to deliver an equalising score from the Midlands. It is Loughborough 17, Exeter 17 in the 80th minute, no less. What a finish to that game up at Loughborough Stadium in front of 5,000 fans. That is BUCS Rugby in a nutshell. An 80th minute equalising try. They just do not do boring games of rugby in this league. As the line out once again misfires, it's been a feature for both sides, unfortunately, in this game. But Cardiff University are the ones who come out with the ball. Finney shows and goes, stopped in his track by Rubazniak. Oakley, he's there to receive the offload. And it's to Everett. Everett has been working hard all game. You can see why Newport have him on his books. A man with that power, that industry.
Yeah, Alex Everett has put a good shift in so far. No, he hasn't done the glamour work, but he's carried when he needed to carry, and he's got over the king line, and he's put Cardiff on the front foot.
As the Archers counter Tom Benjamin, wow, has he looked good in this game. Amazing to think that you can lose George Simpson, but then you pick up Tom Benjamin coming back from injury to fill the 15 jersey.
Yeah, Tom Benj is a great player, you know, his spatial awareness from kick receipts able, but he understands the game well as also, and he can put you in the right areas. He knows when to run and when to kick. So, you know, I think at the minute he's that balanced player that Cardiff Met need at fullback.
Another scrappy period of play that sees a misplaced box kick after a knock-on from Met. You really feel that someone needs to take the game by the scruff of the neck, just get a bit of continuity, cut out the errors, and whoever does that first, you feel is going to come out on top, because at the moment there is no direction to this match. Again,
like I said, first off I was being negative towards the way the Cardiff University was next in, and they were trying to overplay in the wrong areas, but I think Cardiff Met are doing exactly the same now. I think, you know, you're just outside your 22, you got no options on. I think it's important to get men in your feet and get a good kick chase and hopefully apply pressure down in different areas of the field. But I think at the minute both teams are trying to overplay, which, you know, is resulting in a lot of errors, which is making this game like a bit of stop-start.
Yeah, I think at 24-10 with 4 tries under the belt, the wind in the sails, Met almost felt like they'd won the game and it was about, you know, building some points and enjoying themselves. But Cardiff have clung on in there. They obviously got another score to drag them back in there. And look at them now. They're on the outskirts of the visitors' 22. They've got an opportunity to attack here now. The Cardiff Met need to be careful.
Yeah, they do. We still got another 15 minutes plus in this game, and I think, you know, if Cardiff University up the tempo, I'm sure they will get some gains out of this. But, you know, I think it's about Cardiff Met now to switch on defensively now and put a big set in. So hopefully they can force the turnover.
And there's plenty of new players to announce themselves in this game, in this crucial last 15 minutes that we're coming up to. Pretty much every substitute emptied from the bench, and it's led to the Met scrum being in the ascendancy, but Cardiff get it back and they attack through Owen Williams. A try last week, he's sniffing for another one.
Turnover number 3, Dav Rubazniak again.
And what an impact that man has had. Rubazniak, man of the match against Loughborough last year in your home fixture, which was really one of those sort of turning point games where you guys started to believe that you could go all the way. He's come off the bench, and really he's keeping Cardiff at bay as they attack incessantly. Finney puts it on the boot for Sabri to chase. Again, Tom Benjamin is there and he bursts through 2-3 tackles. And there's a new scrum half on there. He finds Rubazniak, who finds Bennett. He'll be wanting to show what he's got after a missed kick and a knock-on since he's come on. But they go to a stalwart, Jack Arthur. He hasn't put a foot wrong tonight. And Harvey Scott, another season campaigner for this Cardiff Met side, who've got ambitions on BUCS silverware after falling agonisingly short last season. They kick it long, but is that too much? Yes, it is. Another error from Bennett. The demons are beginning to swirl on him, and he'll want to get a positive bit of play under his belt to puff his confidence back up. Substitution for Cardiff Met coming back onto the field. Will Gibson, who's replacing Jack Arthur, who for me has really been one of your standout players in the tight, in the set piece, in the loose. He has been sensational.
Yeah, Jack Arthur's put a good shift in, you know, not just with ball in hand where he's been doing the glamour stuff in the wide channels with the one-hand offloads, but you know, defensively getting off the line, making the leg chops, making it easy for the likes of Rabazniak to get over the ball and slow it down. So, you know, is a full performance from Jack Arthur today. So, you know, he's been great.
Well, I can confirm that Loughborough and Exeter game has finished 17 apiece after a penalty try in the 80th minute. What a decision for the referee to have to make. But he's put his neck on the chopping block and he's made it, and a draw is what we've got from up there in the Midlands, as another spilt ball from Cardiff University leads to a scrum from the visiting side. I'm running out of things to say, Aled, because the errors are just strewn across this period, and it's really disappointing after the fireworks of the first half.
Yeah, I think the error count is through the roof at the moment. I think someone needs to take this game by the scruff of the neck and start producing some quality.
Yes, something for both sets of fans to cheer about. As Laurie Essenhigh puts the ball in, he darts and finds Northmore, who does well to hold on to it. He then offloads. It's a spill forward by Northmore, and we've got another scrum in this game. The front rows must be knackered.
Yeah, it was a great initial carry by Luke Northmore. Got over the gain line, he sucked a few defenders in, but I just think he could have kept that ball and generated a quick ball, and hopefully something would have rose later on in that phase of play. But you know, they go again, and I'm sure that Cardiff University now have a great platform to kind of play off and hopefully can be able to create something from here.
So as we pack down for scrum 1283 in this BUCS Super Rugby fixture brought to you by Yoti, we hear the Cardiff Met faithful singing along. Now you guys now have 10 teams. You've got 5 teams turning out on Saturdays. The club is really building. I know that you're trying to emulate that of Hartbury, that of Exeter. It's really moving in the right direction for you.
Yeah, it was one thing that Danny Milton wanted to exploit, put together, was to grow club culture, and everyone wanted to buy into that. So, you know, I think with the BUCS Super Rugby going well, and with the Welsh Championship going well, I think he's allowed opportunity to a wider range of players, so they're able to train in the morning, so you know no one falls behind. And I think it's a credit to him having faith in individuals to put them into the limelight, you know, here tonight and also on a Saturday in the Championship, and you know the rewards are paying off.
Yeah, and the club is not just about its first team, it is just as much about the 5th team and the social side, if anything else. They're the boys on the terraces cheering your name, singing the songs. And for the 2nd and 3rd teams, they're the next generation, as we see Luke Northmore carry into the midfield. The Cardiff University defence very, very narrow. You could throw a blanket over them at the moment if Met can have the vision to see the men out wide. As Jack Samuel tightens it up for them, he comes in looking for a ball blind, but Essenhigh goes open, and it's hard work. A step from Tom Morgan, who goes in at first receiver. But this is probably the most concerted bit of play without disruption that we've seen for 15 minutes, so long may it continue. Let's keep it tight, boys. Let's keep the knock-ons at bay. It does spill out, but it looks like it's gone backwards. The AR hasn't called it in, and we're going wide. It's Zach Cloud, the first try scorer, steps inside, Very impressive, this fresher, in his first start in BUCS Super Rugby. And he finds Dan Kennett. Dan Kennett, the dependable front row replacement, battle hardened from his time in the Welsh leagues. But there's an infringement from Cardiff University, a penalty for the visitors, and a decision to make. Do they go for the point, or is it going to get stuck in the corner?
Yeah, Joe, that was an example of simple rugby. Really, it was carrying up the middle, sucking defenders in, and then they're earning the right to go wide, and they had success down that wide channel. So hopefully Cardiff Met can stick to this, earning the right to go wide. So
earn the right to go wide. We love a cliche here at BUCS Super Rugby, Alex.
Plenty more where you come from.
But you're right, they do need to earn that right, and it all starts here with the ball in Samuel's hands. Where's he going to go? Beloko's been safe all night, and he finds him towards the back, and they build a maul. Will it be a maul to counter that we saw from the home side in the first half that led to their opening score? And they've got the momentum. It's breaking up, but they're managing to stay together. The ball's there at the back. We can see it. We can still see it as they rebuild, and they're looking to get the ball back to Samuel. Samuel is sniffing around, but they've finally been dragged down to the ground. But is it illegally? Because the referee has his arm out as they look to show some of that composure. They're inches short at the moment. What are they going to do? Do they carry tight? It's there. They are stifled once more, and it's in at the base of the scrum. They go short. It's Aled Ward who has done the nitty-gritty work all night. Carrying short. Is it over? Yes, it is! Jack Wright! The big, heavy, bulldozing inside centre runs a short line. He says, I want this ball. I want this try that's going to put this game to bed. And he does the job. Cardiff 17, Cardiff Met 29. We get an opportunity to look at the replay. We've spoken of composure all night, and it was there in abundance until Laurie Essenhigh heard the curdling scream of Jack Wright on the short line. And he is a big boy to be stopping from there, and Cardiff University were not up to the task.
Yeah, Joe, that all started from the driving line. It was great recycling by the pack, and once your job's not done, so you keep recycling, you keep getting behind the ball carrier, and that ball transfer keeps going behind.
Can Russell Bennett get the monkey off his back and slot this one through for his first points in the jersey? Yes, he can, and he stretches that lead out to 17-31, leaving Cardiff University with a mountain to climb.
Yeah, that's a great hard line by Jack right there. It's difficult. You had Alex Everett there marking him. Big strong lump, but he managed to squeeze himself over and give Cardiff Met the 7 points.
Eight minutes to turn this game around for the home side. They are staring down the barrel of back-to-back defeats as Finney's drop goal woes continue. It doesn't go the 10, it then goes into touch, and that is not what Cardiff needed as they look to overturn this 14-point deficit. And now surely you'd expect some wizened game smarts from your Met men to see it out from here. They've got a dominant position in the midfield, stick the ball down in enemy territory and let them try and win the game.
Yeah, I think it'll go for the basic 8, 9, 15 towards the point. They've only have one in the backfield, so there's plenty of room to put a ball to grass and get behind there, and they're looking to attack.
As Essenhigh snipes from the base. Harvey Scott takes it forward. That's surely offside. The referee says no. Cardiff are chancing their arm now, but he's had a whistle from his AR. An advantage is being played to the men who hail from Kincoids. It's stolen legitimately by Cardiff on that occasion, but it's the offside from previously in the game, and the referee is going to have a word as we approach the dying embers of the game. He's getting fed up with the indiscipline. Indiscipline that Cardiff just do not need. And Cardiff Met will lap up as they look to see out the final 5 minutes. 31-17 up as we approach the conversation, Aled, of who is tonight's man of the match.
Yeah, look, there's a lot of candidates who could have man of the match tonight. I think, Alex Everett from Cardiff has stuck his hand up there. He's carried well all evening. Like I said before, he hasn't done the nitty-gritty stuff, but he's got over the gain line and done what he needed to do. And same as Aled Ward, really. I think he's done his bit. He's got over the gain line with good outwards carries, and he's done well. But for me, I think with his all-round performance, and not just in attack but in defence as well, I'd say that Jack Arthur has put a performance in today as worthy of the man of the match performance.
So Jack Arthur winning the Yoti Man of the Match award, the revered giant bottle of turquoise champagne heading up the motorway to Kincoid in the midst of Jack Arthur. We'll get an opportunity to chat to him after the game as we're drowned out by the hymns and arias of the Kincoid faithful. Cardiff University have played well. They've played their part in this match, but an error-strewn second half didn't give them the opportunity to sling the ball out wide, which is where they prospered in the first half. And maybe, just maybe, a little bit of ringcraft from Cardiff Met has seen them across the line in this one. There's still 4 minutes left. It's a scrum for Cardiff University, about 15 metres out from their own line, and the Archers turn the screw in the scrum, but illegally, says the referee, and a penalty goes their way. Finney, who scored a try, has had his moment, looks to put them up the pitch as he puts it right over the stadium.
I think it's important for Cardiff University to keep playing now. They've scored 3 tries. I think it's important they get that 4th try. You never know at the end of the season where 1 or 2 points may put you in the table. So I think a big emphasis now for this last 3 minutes would be able to get that 4th try and clinch that point.
I mean, Cardiff University, they couldn't have had a more challenging opening to their first season in BSR. They played Hartpury, last year's champions, round 1. Round 2, they're playing you guys who were only just pipped by Hartpury in the final last year. And you look at the scores, 31-14, 31-17 at the moment tonight. These are not whopping scores, and there's definitely green shoots of optimism for these boys.
Yeah, they are two difficult opening games, but like we said, pre-game, there's no easy game in this BUCS Super Rugby. So anywhere they go, if they go to the likes of Loughborough, Exeter, even Nottingham Trent got a good result in round 1. There is no easy game. So I think it's about Cardiff University getting used to this BUCS Super Rugby League and hopefully being consistent from Wednesday to Wednesday, and hopefully they can pick up results.
Well, you mentioned Trent. We saw them get hammered consistently all of last season up until March, when they finally registered that first win against Durham and went back to back against the Palatinate. So I feel that Cardiff have really got work to do, but there's definitely foundations to build upon. And if they keep this support up all season, then they'll be cheered on right until the very end. So we're 90 seconds from the final whistle. Another scrum, this time on the halfway line for the visitors. The Archers, the men who are looking to go one step further this season. They want to get to that final and they want to win it. They want to be taking the BUCS silverware out of England into Wales, so that songs will be written about them, hymns and arias down here in Cardiff. As we appropriately finish the game with another knock-on, which is then gobbled up from an offside position, and it's a final opportunity.
That's what you call a commentator's curse, isn't it?
Yeah, for Cardiff.
Yeah, it's a great incentive now for for Cardiff University to be in the 22. You know, like I just said before, they're looking to get that 4th try and gain that point. So hopefully now the set piece, it has been their downfall during this game. Hopefully they can get a set piece right now, and it's still not clear, but they just managed to get the ball back.
A last chance to attack for Cardiff University. A bonus point is on the line for them, so it's not just for show. Concerningly for Cardiff, Matt Aled Ward is down, clasping his shoulder on the near side as Cardiff launch one last attack, and they're looking good again in those wide channels. If they can get that converted try here, that will bring them to within 7 points and a losing bonus point, which maybe they deserve from this game. Owen Williams takes over the kicking responsibilities to launch them into the corner. They're 10 metres out. Aled Ward is in quite some discomfort down there on the pitch as Dan Thurston charges on to take his place.
Yeah, you know, knowing Aled Ward is a tough cookie, I'm sure he'll be up on his feet in no time.
Well, the referee,
and again, I think it's important now for Cardiff to get a clean platform. I think the last three lineouts they have won them, but they hasn't been clean, so that disrupts the back line's flow onto the ball. So hopefully they can get a clean ball out there now and keep this tight. And
they go to their totem in the middle. Charlie Stonehill once again. It slips out the back, but it's adjudged to have gone forward first and foremost. We still have time for the scrum. Our clock is a bit of an estimation at times. It's pretty much bang on, but we've obviously gained a minute that the referee doesn't have, as Aled Ward is led off with his arm in a sling. That does not look good for his shoulder, and is a really unjust finale to a man who was given 110% out there, and really, as we've spoken about plenty of times, done the unglamorous work and always put his hand up to carry the ball.
Yeah, you know, Ali's put an outstanding performance in today, and I'm sure he'll be a bit disappointed to pick up this injury, but hopefully it's not too bad.
As the Archers boot it out to spark raucous celebrations for the Kincoid support, who've been noisy all night, but they'll be even noisier out on the town of the Diff. They've come down to the Arms Park for this big Cardiff derby, and they've prospered. 17 points to 31, the final score here at the Cardiff Arms Park. So Aled, a fantastic start to proceedings for your old boys. Cardiff Met, plenty to take from it from Cardiff University, but in a scrappy second half, Cardiff could only generate one try to the 2 of Cardiff Met, and that proved to be the difference in the end. We see the players congratulating each other. They know there's bigger games to come, and we'll get an opportunity to catch up with some of those try lights from the second half before grabbing the man of the match, and maybe a word with the losing coach. So here we are, we're back into the first half. This is what kicked things all off. No, we're not. We're back to the second half. Here we go, Aled. Let's talk us through these ones.
Yeah, it's a great carry by Aled Ward. You know, I think he done that all night really. But you know, it's a good smart thinking by Harry Seward, has managed to pick lazy 1 and 2s by the Cardiff Met. But you know, they showed good patience really, and another good ball handling display by Dan Thurston to put Luke North moreover. So yeah, it was good by a number of players there, but you know, to stay cool and calm and collected like Dan Thurston did then with ball in hand, and you know, and put Luke in, it's a credit to Dan.
Yeah, it came at such an important time as well. Cardiff really needed that first score in the second half, but a mixture of sloppiness and clinical finishing from Cardiff Met told. That was obviously before Cardiff University got themselves back on the score sheet and back into contention.
Yeah, and this was on the back of Cardiff Met having a good driving lineup really, and a good recycler transfer the ball back, and kept things rolling. But it was a great short line and by Jack Wright to go over and really push Cardiff Met away from Cardiff University in this fixture.
So a comfortable win here at the Arms Park for Cardiff Met. But Cardiff University showing that they will be no walkovers in this league. They've played 2, they've lost 2, but they can hold their heads high, pushing the 1 and 2 of last year's championship to the brink on each occasion. But there have been more thrilling games so far, none so more than Trent versus Loughborough, which we brought to you last week live from Lady Bay, and here's what went down.
7 minutes gone, still scoreless, but how long for as Rafter takes them back towards the post, bang on the 22. Sutton gets his hands on the ball this time, but it's a loose pass picked up by Cardle. It's through a couple, they're just 5 metres short again. Here there are numbers and Loughborough 1s and 2s in defence. Lovely footwork inside, a few loose tackles, but Harry Graham's brought down. Here's Jack, the captain, for the line, and he opens the scoring. It's been relentless pressure from Nottingham Trent, and it pays. Inside 8 minutes, it's Trent 5, Loughborough 0.
Yeah, the bounce of the ball there has created the opportunity. Loughborough will have probably been fairly happy with that defensive set for the first 4 or 5 phases. We're tackling low, we're getting players to deck and getting a second man over the ball. But as the ball went to deck a few phases later on, is what opened the game up and gave the try scoring opportunity.
Well, that was the mistake. The ball kicked out on the full. Loughborough inviting the pressure. And Nottingham Trent, having missed one opportunity, were a lot more clinical the second time. 2 metres short, under the sticks here for Loughborough. Gallagher sets up next to McPherson. Trying to drive the big man over, but his body position's not ideal. Trent hold firm. Kilgallen waits to the right hand side, but Loughborough keep it narrow. Referee taking a good look at this. He's not given it yet. He's having a conversation with his assistant, is Jamie Leahy. Oh, the try's been awarded. Once again, Wilkins, the number 6, takes them to bang in front of the sticks. Max Hill, his back row partner, supported there by the captain Cox. 5 metres short here for Loughborough students. Kilgallen, stood up well and driven backwards. Massive defence. Alex Goebel again. What a physical presence he is in midfield. Little chip over the top, looking for Atta. It's been dropped and pounced upon. It's a second score for Loughborough students. Well, a smart kick in behind, and Loughborough from a score down take the lead for the first time in the match, 12-7.
Both sides playing a very similar attacking pattern when they get down to the 22, bringing players around the corner, and that's one of those things which happens with a rugby ball sometime. I'm sure Max Craven there would argue that he did ground that ball.
What's going on? This time, it's a successful ball to the middle. Davis Moore, the recipient.